Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. So today we're working on a new project. So we're painting the E-Flite F-16. This is going to be a quick and dirty paint job. It's not a full refinish by any means, just painting over the original paint. So I've removed the stickers as much as I can, and I already got the wings painted. Started off with some satin white just to give us a good base. I also used some black vinyl to cover up like all the hardpoint slots and some of the wire channels and stuff like that. Let me show you on the stab. And I got everything masked up, all the connectors and whatnot. You can see right here how I've covered up some of the stuff. Quick and dirty way. I got the decals from Cali Graphics. So yeah, this is just going to be a quick and easy kind of deal here. So you can see I've covered up these open slots and whatnot. But yeah, so we're gonna just keep on painting. This is a pretty simple scheme. The reason I'm painting this in the YF-16 scheme, even though it's a very overdone scheme, it looks amazing, shows up really well, which will be a nice contrast from the all gray paint scheme, which is pretty hard to see. I'm doing it because I'm building a YF-17, which is what competed against the YF-16, so that's why we're giving it this paint job. Alright, let's keep on painting. So this might be a little comical, but we got a broom taped to the stand here, so you can make it a little rotisserie, so I can paint the whole thing in one step. I do have the fan removed, so I don't get a bunch of overspray on it. And as you see, I got all the connection points covered up, because if you get these painted, then it's going to be hard to put the wings on and stuff, so I'm going to do my best to keep... Actually, you know what, I'm going to put some tape on the back sides of these really quick before I start. That way these don't get loaded up with paint, because the verticals do fit snug on these, so you don't want anything keeping you from being able to get that vertical on there. Alright, you can see here we got the white on the fuselage. The rotisserie worked out pretty good. This thing looks excellent on camera and maybe not so excellent in person, but it's not terrible. Again, this is a foamy, it's a quickie. Don't even get me started on, oh, aren't you going to change the nose to be a YF-16 nose, and aren't you going to change the stabs, and aren't you going to change the ventral fins, and nope, I'm not going to do any of that, I'm sorry. But I will do the best I can as far as keeping the scheme accurate, some details to kind of bring that scheme to life. And, you know, at the end of the day, I hate to say it this way, but it's a foamy, and, you know, we got stuff like cheater holes everywhere that take a lot more away from the look, in my opinion, than the nose not being pointy enough or, you know, having the wrong stabs. I thought about doing the stabs because that's pretty easy, but I don't want to mess with the way these fly, so I'm not going to do it. Next step on this would be to mask for the blue on the top. So what I'll probably do is I'll probably mask the blue on top, and then for the red, because the red continues from the wing down along the leading edge extension here. So I'll probably mask everything and paint the top stuff all at once. I'll mask everything, and then I'll probably paint the red, then kind of cover it up, and then paint the blue and then the black. So what's interesting is the blue comes into here, and then it has like a fade line. It fades into black from here forward. It's not like a sharp line. It's actually faded, which is, I don't know, kind of cool. The other kind of nice thing is that this hatch fit isn't spectacular. I like that they have the plastic here, which is nice. It makes these super durable compared to old school stuff. It just gets all dented up and everything. But what I'll be able to do is I'll be able to hide this kind of not great fit here, because the black and the blue follow those lines all the way to the back. So that's kind of nice. And then underneath there's a big blue, kind of like a big blue that runs along here, and that'll kind of help hide these lower cheater holes because it's a pretty dark blue. And you can see over here I got the vertical done. This is drying. I got the elevators sprayed. Vertical's all done. So I'm using Rust-Oleum paint that's navy blue, and that's strawberry. Was it strawberry red? I think it's strawberry red. It's a little light, perhaps. Sorry, poppy red. My bad. Satin. Dry is real nice and covers well. The red on the real F-16 was kind of a brighter, slightly orangey red, and I'll say that this color is pretty close. And again, I'm not going to get carried away because I'm not competing in a skill competition with the model, but I do like my stuff to look good, obviously. And you know, sometimes I cut corners on certain things that make sense, and sometimes I don't. So see here, I've got the decals on the wings, and I've done just a real light gloss clear over this, and looks pretty cool. The decals on it, you can see covering up those spots underneath. Worked out pretty well, and the camera's really skewing this sizing, but the wings on the E-Flite F-16 are a bit oversized. So anyways, the youngster over here is working on his latest prize from the event. So we're gonna try our best to make this RC using the guts out of a timber. So it's a Gillows Stearman, and I'm pretty sure Larry Wolf donated this kit to the event, and a number of others as well. And Larry had a hobby shop for a long time. This model was still in its wrapper, and you can tell by the color of the plans that this model has been sitting in the box for a long time. Now they went and Bentley went ahead and had the plans copied, so we didn't have to cut up the originals. But super neat kit, and I gotta say, just by looking at it, it's probably mid 80s vintage, somewhere in there, early 90s at the most, so it's old. And I did get the Bearcat all fixed up. If you guys watched the last video on the Bearcat, this door failed. The reason it failed was because the gear, I had adjusted this gear. These rods right here are adjustable, and I was trying to get some of the slop out of it when it was down. Well, it did a little bit, but what it ended up really doing was making it to where when it went up, it kind of had slop when it was up. And so that door was hanging down and a little bit and got in the air stream, and because it was starting to rip pretty good, it tore it, it broke it. And so anyways, I was able to come in here and fix it real nice, so it's all touched up, and I got the gear readjusted, so now it goes up and closes really nice and tight. So anyways, different project. Got the tail wheel fixed. That was broken, and I completely redesigned that, so now I shouldn't have any more problems. So anywho, we're waiting for this to dry, and honestly, this paint is taking quite a while to dry. I should have just used flat or satin, and it would have dried much quicker, and then I could have just put a clear over it. But this is semi-gloss, and it's not doing too bad, although it's not super warm today. It's like in the mid 80s right now. So anywho, I'm gonna wait till this dries, and then we can keep on painting. But I do suggest, if you are gonna do a foam refinish like this, find a low-tack masking tape for your masking. I used on the tail, and it worked out without messing anything up. So yep, let's get this puppy masked up and painted. All right, we got everything masked. Do the red first because it dries quicker, and then the blue and the black. One thing you need to note about using paper towels as masking is that if you spray too hard over it, you'll actually get paint that goes through it, depending on what brand it is or whatever. But I try and just keep the concentration away from the paper. That's why I kind of covered this all in tape. It's because I'm going to have to spray in those areas kind of hard, and I don't want to go through the paper. So let's get some color on this puppy. Alrighty, I got the fuselage painted, and yes, the real one had a faded line between the black and the blue. It's kind of neat. But guess what? You can't even see where the hatch is anymore. That worked out pretty sweet. So overall, it turned out pretty good. See, like the blue, like I was saying, kind of hides the cheater holes in the bottom, although we still got these giant ones right here. But everything else, aside from this little spot right here, which we need to get touched up, aside from that, turned out pretty good. So I'm going to put the decals on it, and then hit it with a real light coat of gloss clear. Call it a day. I got to paint the ventral still, and then paint the afterburner section, which actually on the YF-17 comes all the way up to here, unlike later airplanes, which just has the metal exposed on the can itself. So I'll take care of that, get these decals on. Honestly, even though this isn't a real A model, I think it looks pretty cool with the scheme. The nose appears pointier with the black on it like that, so I like it. The blue might be a little light, but the other blue I had was too dark, and depending on what picture you look at, the real one, this really isn't too far off. So I'm pretty happy with it. Looking forward to kind of like, I might dirty it up just a little bit. These were test jets, and they probably didn't get cleaned super often, so there might have been some hydraulic stuff underneath, whatever, some dirty stuff from standing on top of it. But anyways, I might do a little bit just to kind of dress it up a little bit. But yeah, pretty excited. It's looking sweet. And then I did the stay out lines and the wings. This is just some black vinyl that I had. So it looked pretty cool. Turned out nice. Yeah, this is a pretty cool looking quickie paint job here. Well, that's about going to wrap it up for the night. Obviously, it's painted now. So I got the decals on. I got the the no walk areas on the fuselage done, and the decals actually weren't super accurate, not for the F-16, but close enough. I did paint the main wheels black, which the real one had, and the exhaust area, tried adding some blues in there. It's kind of a work in progress. I may end up redoing that at some point, but it'll do for now. But yeah, pretty excited about that. It's pretty sweet. If anyone of you was around in the 80s, this paint scheme got done to death by the Byron Airplane Company. So yeah, a lot of guys had this paint scheme back in the 80s and 90s, but it's a super cool scheme. It should show up really well, and it hasn't been done a lot recently because the Thunderbird scheme and aggressor schemes have gotten pretty popular on F-16s. So I think this one got so worn out back in the day that people just kind of stopped using it. But I think it's pretty cool, and I remember having a monogram model of this paint scheme when I was a kid. And anyways, I just like it a lot. So pretty happy with how it turned out. Like I said, I'll probably do a little bit of weathering just to kind of give it some detail, but overall pretty happy with it for a one-day job. And yeah, probably gonna stick to more foam finishes like this instead of the full refinish. It's just so much work. This was, you know, I started this at like 3 o'clock today, and it's about 12. So not too bad. Turned out pretty good. Like I said, I'll do a little bit of weathering, and I'd like to do up the cockpit really nice at some point. That pilot is not spectacular, certainly not for this vintage scheme. So anyways, hope you guys enjoyed it, and hopefully soon, in the next week or so, we can get some video of this thing flying in the new paint scheme. Anyways, hope you guys like it, and we'll see you in the next one.